When all is said and done, I'd like people to walk away from my work with a smile. And I don't think that's a bad thing, that people would actually get enjoyment from my artwork. I know that art is supposed to be serious business, but I do feel like the inner self, the soul, can actually be reached through humor. Early on, I started figuring out how important it was to stand out from the pack. There are thousands of talented artists out there, but I knew I wanted to be the kind of artist you walked into a gallery and that was the piece you noticed. That there was something about that artist that was unique and made it so I could make a living from my art. Right from the start, I knew I wanted to be a still life painter, and that is even tougher to figure out how to stand out from the pack because you're limited by a tabletop surface. So right away, I knew I wanted to get rid of my tabletop. And I started thinking about what to do about that. And I ran across these soda crates and I loved them. They are pieces of Americana. They're brightly colored. They're advertising slogans and they have text. And there's not too many cases in still life that you have an opportunity to throw text into your artwork. I also knew beyond just the soda crates that I wanted to tell a story in my still life, that they just weren't static objects, but that my objects had something to give to the viewer. So I needed to find objects that were a little recognizable. Just like the soda crates were pieces of Americana, I started looking for things that, like a balloon dog. We all love those as kids. Oreos. There were certain things that were pieces of Americana that have an emotional connection, but now I can play with and give the viewer a little bit of a starting point or a little bit of a head start when looking at my artwork. For the most part, there is only an implied motion in my artwork. I am a still life painter. I do set up all my objects and I work from life with those objects. The apples, the balloon dogs, they're not alive. They're just sitting there and I'm painting them. But then the viewer's mind actively engages them. I've had clients tell me they've named my apples in the paintings. They've named the balloon dogs because they have a personality. They are act one of this play, and in the viewer's minds, they're creating the remaining acts and imagining all the motion that's occurring. I think it's kind of fun that people do that. People say all the time to me, "Oh, you're an artist, how exciting that is." Not really. 363 days a year, I work here alone, but I love it. It is the most satisfying profession for me in creating something with my own hands. There's nothing more fulfilling than rolling back, looking at my work, and feeling a sense of accomplishment. I'm always keeping myself open to new ideas. I think it's really important to be aware. So no matter where I go, I am paying attention. I've got that side of my brain open to pay attention to words, to images, to phrases that I'm always jotting down and writing them down, whether it's on the corner of my crossword puzzle, the edge of my church bulletin, or a school concert. There's always little notes on everything. My kids laugh to come home and look at them and see what are Dad's new ideas. But that's something I've trained myself to do, to always be open to a future painting. Unfortunately, many paintings become wallpaper. A collector can buy it, put it in the environment, they love it when they buy it, but then it really never has to engage them or does engage them again. It becomes something that people can walk past and it matches the environment. I want my work to have a conversation with the viewer. I want them to have to engage it, and that's important to me because that's become part of my artistic process, that the viewer is now engaged in finishing the story, engaged in talking to the painting. I want to create the illusion of reality more than reality itself. So I'm not a slave to what's sitting in front of me. I want it to work on canvas. I want people to believe what they're seeing on my canvas is actually reality. I do paint with the viewer in mind. I'm not just painting this in isolation. I mean, I am from the start, but I know it's going to go into the public. I know it's going to hang in a gallery. I know people are going to see it. I'm not oblivious to that. And I want them to look at it and take something personally from it. That it has a story that I want it to affect their life, and that it means something to them, and that they see it. And I usually have a story. I have something, some reason I'm painting the piece for, but it doesn't matter to me that people get the same thing, that they look at my work and come to the same conclusion. I'm giving them a jumping off point for them to get a story in their own mind. And I hope that when it gets to the end, that story that they've created, it personally means something to them. And that gives me a tremendous amount of satisfaction.